This is the kind of morning it's been. So hold on a second. Let me try something else.
Hello, is there anybody there? It seems I'm all alone again. Does anybody care? This planet's empty. I see no signs of life. Please don't tell me that the human race did not survive. There are no people in the future. There are no people. There are no people in the future. No people at all. There are no people in the future. Where did all my people go? There are no people in the future. Let me try my people call. Where are all my people? Where are all my people? I guess I'll fly away now.
Hey, everybody. Welcome. Yes, it is. I was going to say it's Monday. This has been the kind of morning that has been. It is Friday, April 5th, 2024. Welcome to Raging Chicken's Friday Politics Roundup. This is Kevin Mahoney, editor and founder of Raging Chicken. Each week, we break down the good, the bad, and the ugly in state and national politics. You can support the show by becoming a patron for as little as $5 a month. Head on over to patreon.com/rcpress. You can also help out the show by heading over to our YouTube channel if you're not there already. Smash that subscribe button, like the stream for this show, and hit that notification bell so you know every time that we go live. If you're one of our awesome podcast listeners, make sure to leave us a 5-star review whatever platform you listen on. Leave a comment to let other folks know why you like the show. Little things like this help other people find the show. It's gonna be a little bit of a windy show today, folks. I gotta just warn you ahead of time. For more PA Progressive Talk, tune in to the Rick Smith Show's live stream at 9 p.m. Eastern, YouTube channel, Twitter, Facebook. You got the drill. Subscribe to his podcast wherever you get your podcast. Check out thericksmithshow.com for the latest across all his platforms. And there is, of course, the Sisters of the Night Caucus podcast. The amazing PA women stirring the political cauldron behind this podcast rock the house. And they know where the bodies are buried. Make sure to follow them on Twitter at The Night Caucus. That's at The Night Caucus on Twitter or X. And subscribe to their podcast on Spotify, iTunes, or wherever you get your podcast. And The Signals, the podcast from the Bucks County Beacon. The Signal is hosted by the Beacon's editor-in-chief, Cyril Michaleko, and produced by this guy talking at you right now. Twice a month, The Signal will shine a light on the right-wing extremist currents streaming through Bucks County and beyond. Cyril invites guests who can provide insight, analysis, and organizing solutions so you can steer the community toward calmer, saner, progressive roots. Check out that podcast at thebuckscountybeacon.podbean.com. Also from the Bucks County Beacon is the Civic Circle. They are tackling politics and policy from a Gen Z lens. Sarah Sang, Mallory Marson, and Alexander Coffey are students from Bucks County, Pennsylvania, and once a month they chat about activism, advocacy, and political happenings affecting their generation today. Check out theciviccircle.podbean.com for it all. And for all you gamers out there, the Game Inn is a Quakertown-based black family-owned gaming store. Friends of the show, and they got everything from retro N64s, the latest consoles, video games for all platforms, collectibles, action figures, Funko Pops, walls of Funko Pops, and good grades on report cards. Get your kids discounts too. Got a question about a game, looking for something hard to get? They've got you covered. Check them out on their Facebook page and follow them on Twitter at the Game Inn. That's with 2 N's. Shoot them a message or drop them an email at thegameinpa@gmail.com. And if you find yourself in the Kutztown area, you got to check out the Heart and Hearth Deli and Smokehouse, located at 466 West Main Street, kitty corner from the Kutztown University campus. The Heart and Hearth is an American bistro featuring barbecue and French-inspired fare. It's absolutely delicious, all with locally sourced and organic ingredients. Check them out, Heart and Hearth Deli. Awesome. Special shout out goes to Jonathan Mann, who wrote our intro song, There Are No People in the Future. Check out all his great stuff and follow him on his YouTube page. Check him out on Twitter, at Song a Day Man. That's at Song a Day Man with 2 N's, at Song a Day Man on Twitter. And look, everybody, we want progressive future. We need progressive media. Support Pull No Punches, homegrown progressive media today. I'm a patron of Raging Chicken for his $5 a month. Go to patreon.com/rcpress today. We're here for the fight, and we need you. Become a patron for the price of a good beer once a month. Help keep the media in the movement in the media. Become a patron for as little as $5 a month by going to patreon.com/rcpress today. Oh my gosh, everybody. So, yeah, today's one of these days. It's been one of these mornings. That, as you heard, even as I started to finally start the show today, about 5 minutes or so late, there's been this ongoing audio issue that I'm having with my with the music tracks and things like this, and it's been a pain. So was trying to fix that this morning, didn't quite work apparently. So I've got to do that. Like, I'm at this one of these points where I feel like I just need to reboot, if that makes any sense. Like, I really do think I've got to let me lay this out there for you. So you've heard me talk about the craziness of my job right now, because they launched this new system and blah 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 blah. It's just taken like an excessive amount of time to do what we normally do. So things that, it's like the extra time that you don't really have in your day, but your bosses think that, oh yeah, just a little extra thing here and there and whatever. It's just been one of those things, kind of like at work, and then there's been weird stuff happening with that system and whatever it might be. And I've been exhausted. I've just been absolutely exhausted. And then there's a few things that have been going on just with the, technical stuff here with at Raging Chicken. One of the things that I wanted to have done over the kind of the Christmas, New Year's break, if you will, like that, period of time, I was trying to get the something had happened to the server in which the Raging Chicken Press was initially hosted. And I'm pretty sure I understand what the problem is. And the problem is that, after attempting to fix it several times on my own, following these kind of online instructions and all this other kind of stuff, I've been unable to do this. So I'm just going to have to kind of bite the bullet and find a big chunk of time to sit on the phone with somebody from the hosting service to see if we can get it sorted out. There was just a transition that went from kind of like, like terrestrial servers to cloud servers, if you will, even though cloud servers are also terrestrial servers. But it was basically taking them off these one servers and hosting the stuff in the cloud. Something I'm sure is my fault. There's something that I did not do correctly in terms of some of the transition, and it just kind of, the whole site has been down for like a year and a half now, or a year really. So anyways, so there's a bunch of stuff there that I really wanted to redesign and do work on that. So there's that. Then on top of that, right, and the reason why I was, I had time to do it over that break for my break, but I got sick like 3 times, right? First I got COVID, right, and then I just got some other cold, and then I've got this kind of recurrent cellulitis thing that took me out of the game for a while. So anyways, yes, I'm sitting here on a Friday morning and I'm complaining. That is what I'm doing today. Today's been that kind of day, right? So anyways, that happened. And so then by the time, I started feeling better and everything, it was time to go right back to campus and I'm back to work. And it's just been a weird kind of year. And it's also, you've heard me talk in the last couple shows about education policy and kind of impact of COVID and everything. But I can tell you right now, it's, and this is, again, it's anecdotal, but the more other faculty I talk to, not just in my department, but across the university, you see some faculty who are posting stuff online and things like this, or are posting on their social media. There's like this huge amount of kind of absenteeism in our classes, just in a different way, right? I mean, you're always, look, Kutztown University is basically an open access university, right? I mean, it's like, and with that, right, comes, all sorts of kind of levels of preparation and kind of like, commitment to this. And there also comes a lot of folks they're in college because they've been told, right, just over and over again that, if they want to have any future, they need to be going to college, right? But nothing beyond that, right? Because the way that we instruct people about going to college in this country is about like a credentialing system, right? And so there's that. Then on top of that, there's all this other stuff that's going on in the background about my job, which I won't get into all the details of. So, it's just been it's been wearing right on me, certainly. So anyway, so again, this is me complaining this morning. Then what just kind of like flipped the switch for me this morning is like, okay, this is the weirdest thing, right? So I mean, like your coffee maker's got this little light comes on every once in a while, says you need to clean it, right? So you kind of run it through with kind of water and vinegar and things like this. Well, periodically when that happens, when I do it here, because we used to have this really super hard water, we kind of got that taken care of, but super hard water, and so you'd get this calcification that would be inside there, and sometimes when you cleaned it, it actually freeze some of that stuff up and it would clog the tubes. Well, anyways, that happened this morning. And matter of fact, right before I was getting ready to come down and kind of like, okay, make some stuff and then I'll just come down and get ready to launch today's show. I tried to kind of, get that to work again. It didn't quite work. And then hot water started kind of spilling out all over the counter. So that's what, right before I went on the show today. For whatever that may kind of mean to the world out there, it is what it is, So having said that, yeah, then it's time of the year for me where a whole bunch of stuff is stacking up, and it's becoming pretty clear that I don't have time, right, to finish what I need to finish. So it is, it's whatever. It happens to a certain degree, but this year everything seems to be pretty acute, and it's not just work; it's a bunch of other stuff. That unexpected kind of work or unexpected problems to have to take care of at the last minute, and then on top of everything else, it's just it's a lot. So that's where I'm sitting today, and to be honest with you, I sat there, I was preparing for the show today, and I'm going through, and this is you don't need to hear this, I know this, right? But I'm going to tell you anyways because it's just one of these kind of little things. So I use this little, it's a web bookmarking tool, right? So it's called Digo. And one of the ways that I prepare for the show is like, all throughout the week as I'm reading different news and things like this, I'll just bookmark it, like highlight different passages and things like this. And that's what kind of usually build, especially the Friday show, kind of build the, build a show from, right? Those kind of bookmark things and what I want to highlight and so on. But even that is proving to be quirky all of a sudden. For some reason, the things aren't sorting in the way that they're supposed to sort, that they're not showing up. They're showing up in one place and not the other, even though the sync is on. There's like little things like this. So it's like just one more little thing. And I don't know about you, but there's times like this in life, right? Where there's nothing like overwhelmingly like taxing by itself. Like, but if you take each one of those individual things, right, these small things, right, in addition to the regular kind of like rhythms of life, and you line them up next to one another, right, by themselves, they're nothing. But you put them all together all at the same time, and it's just like, what the? So that's just kind of where I'm at. And that's by way of saying too, as well, I'm looking at I was looking at stuff this morning, just kind of going over stuff I had planned. And I'll be honest with you, my heart is not in it today. I mean, there's some days that I don't know what it is. It's just like this, and I was looking like, for example, this week you have all this. So we saw what just happened with in Gaza, right? I mean, we saw that we got aid workers, bombed by Israel. And it's like, and it's fun, this World Central Kitchen, right? These are, it's the main, one of the largest providers of food aid to the people in Gaza, right? And this has been despite the fact that Israel has blocked truck shipments. They have interfered with the distribution of aid, all to the denial, willful denial by the U.S. government, like bombing civilians, right? I mean, the story by now. And then to see that now you have a food caravan, right? 3 trucks, vans, really. We're bringing aid. And this is, the World Central Kitchen coordinates with the IDF, the Israel Defense Forces, right? They let them know. They're not secret. They got on the top of their trucks, they got, World Central Kitchen. And you got some people who are just dead now, And you can't tell me that the Israeli forces didn't know this. Right? World Central Kitchens, they radio ahead of time. They let everybody know when they're delivering stuff and where they're at. But apparently, according to, how much can you believe any of this stuff? You don't know. According to Israel's internal investigation of this thing, of this killing, that, one of the Israeli people, the Israeli Defense Forces, who is responsible for bombing, kind of bombing stuff, said, there was a guy who came out of one of the vans and he's holding a bag and they mistook it for a gun, so you just killed everybody in the caravan. And so, I mean, so you've got that happening, right? I mean, objectively, this is a massacre. And then you watch our government sit there and kind of like slow walk humanity. I mean, I don't know what you call it. Like, they're resorting to like this playbook of just like, okay, if we kind of delay meaningful action long enough, that it'll pass, like in the past. We say, well, we were concerned of Israel is using these, they need to be careful about civilian. These are just like, they need to do. It's like, putting things out into the universe, right? Things like, it's like me sitting there, kind of sitting on my couch, talking to my family, say, you know what they really should do? They should do X, right? This goes out there, doesn't do anything, has no effect, right? Because there's no consequence attached to it. And now there's this big thing, right? I mean, you go a little too late. I mean, like, how many, like, tens of thousands? I mean, like 30,000 plus people have been killed in Palestine. Something like 40% of those or something. I'm a significant percentage of those, like nearly half of them, are kids. And that number is clearly an undercount because there hasn't been an updated number because everything is destroyed. There's been an updated number in like a month or something. More than 220 humanitarian workers have already been killed in the conflict. That's according to the UN. This country is culpable for those deaths. Right? And I don't mean that, the U.S. wanted them, U.S. government wanted, but I'm like, we're the ones supplying Israel with all the bombs, with all the weapons. And in the midst of this, like in any other circumstance, right? Just imagine, just pick a different country, right? To say like, oh, okay, that you have indiscriminate bombing and the kind of massacre of 30,000 plus civilians. Would we keep on arming them? I don't know. Maybe the answer is yes to that question. So there's this big phone call between Biden and Netanyahu, and there's a readout that kind of released to the public saying, Biden basically said in not so many words that, we expect to have the responses to this. Otherwise, might have to rethink the policy, right? And now that's followed for the next day, reporting the New York Times, Washington Post about like how Biden is tough talk, and this might be shifting a change in Israel's, in the U.S.-Israel relations. I'm like, is it though? I mean, really, is it? I mean, if it is, then let's see it. It just doesn't, it seems to me that this is just like another big show that we're asked to watch. It's like being in there and kind of, Biden trying to respond to increasing pressure within the Democratic caucus and particularly the base or the vast majority of the American public who is really, really not behind this. And normally he's just used to, and not just him. I mean, this is a government official. We normally just say like, Israel, we back Israel. And that's all they have to say. They don't need to think about it anymore. They need to think about Palestinians as real people. They just say their words, and then we're supposed to forget. But that's becoming increasingly problematic. So they're trying new words and see if they can get us to forget in a different way. I mean, we're asked to believe that Biden's on the phone with these people or Biden administration officials, tough talk behind door. I mean, really? If that's the case, then how do you explain how ineffective that has been? If you're supposedly putting pressure upon Israel and Israel continues to just kind of like move in, occupy Gaza, like massacre kids and families and all this stuff, that either says one of two things. One, you're kind of lying, right? You're not really putting any pressure on Netanyahu. You're not really putting any pressure on that government. Or Israel believes, yeah, okay, tough talk, buddy. Okay, whatever. You're not going to do anything about it, so we're just going to keep on doing what we're going to do. Because it has no concern. Because it's just going to assume that, the U.S. is going to hem and haw, but they're still going to supply the aid. And they're still going to fund the massacres. It's so frustrating to me. I mean, I don't know about you, but like that dynamic is what's actually happening in Gaza is horrific. Not just frustrating, it is horrific. Is gut-wrenching. What? And then we have, I think I talked a little bit about this once before, and then we have, the gearing up of the presidential election, and it's just, I can feel it, right? There's a part of me that does not want to go back, to being in that space of that craziness. And yet here we go again, right? We're being threatened. Here we are on the brink of fascism. And we've got all these polls that are out there, and like, I don't trust anything right now. Right? There's some polls that say, yeah, look, Trump's on his way to win this thing. There's other polls saying, nah, not at all. And then you kind of like say, okay, you got these polls doing very different things, right? What's the agenda behind each of these polls? And then on top of that, we know that there's been deep problems in the whole polling, complex, the polling industrial complex, if you will. It's a weird time. It's a weird time. So that is what it is. But I wanted to, I've been thinking a lot about this too as well, and I think that the one thing I do want to kind of point out today is like Cyril Michaleko over in the Bucks County Beacon just published a piece called "Local Journalism and Robust Political Reporting is the Last Line of Defense Protecting Our Democracy." Yeah. Just want to read a bit from his piece here, and then point out a couple things that, look, you can do to help. He says about 2.5 local newspapers per week disappeared in 2003, creating more than 200 countywide news deserts. This trend is likely to continue, according to researchers at the Medill School of Journalism, Media, and Integrated Marketing Communications at Northwestern University. In fact, they use predictive modeling to suggest that 228 counties are at risk of joining the news desert ranks. Bucks County is not a daily news desert yet. Maybe? The Gannett-owned Bucks County Courier-Times and Intelligencer continue to publish dramatically scaled back and shrunken editions, void of any critical information about what our Republican Congressman Brian Fitzpatrick is doing in office, what our state lawmakers are doing in Harrisburg, or any kind of robust reporting on an increased extremism and the threats to democracy locally, statewide, and nationally. As this is the case, when it comes to critical political reporting to inform the electorate, these papers are nothing more than mirages. If a voter solely relied on the Courier-Times Intelligencer to make decisions when mailing in their ballot or casting one in person, they would do so knowing absolutely nothing. This is unacceptable and likely won't change, but will only get worse as Gannett executives line their pockets while gutting their newsrooms. And this is why the Bucks County Beacon is so vital. I agree 100%. And they've been effective. Just remember, just remind how important this project is. While those papers are cutting costs and coverage, we are growing. The Bucks County Beacon. We actually take our role as defenders of democracy seriously. This is why instead of investing in and publishing multiple clickbait stories about David Portnoy trying pizza locally, our writers such as Jenny Stevens, Jennifer Cohen, Pat LaMarche, Peter Green, Catherine Caruso, Zach Roberts, Layla Casey, Aaron Flynn J., Eddie Weinstein, and columnists like Kadita Kenner, Kirsten Zolfel, Tabitha Delangelo, Maurice Cunningham, Steve Sicke, Molly Parson, Mike Gambone, shout out to Mike, Barbara Simmons, Steve Nolan, William Horn, and others are reporting on and providing the analysis on issues that matter most: voting rights and voter suppression, candidates and elections, the rising threat of Christian nationalism and supremacy, Congressman Fitzpatrick's votes, local lawmakers and legislation in Harrisburg, public education and its defenders, systemic racism, growing right-wing extremism, and more. And when we publish something, people across the country are reading. Our work has been cited in media outlets such as Vanity Fair, The Nation, Talking Points Memo, Wonkette, Media Matters, Salon, Philadelphia Inquirer, WHYY, MSNBC, The Daily Beans, and Keith Olbermann, and more. Right? I think he's right on the money. I mean, I think that it's, looking for ways that to kind of make that project thrive. I mean, I think is going to be the most important thing. And I just want to kind of put a couple things on people's agenda. And I know you've heard a bunch of this, especially if you've been following the Beacon for a while and so on, if you've been reading their stuff, you know that basically they're trying to grow and they're trying to kind of build out a membership base. So Bucks County Beacon doesn't have paywalls, right? But they are there only because of the support it gets from the community. Right, so you can help. Look, you can help the Bucks County Beacon become a sustainer, and their goal is to kind of get 100 readers given $10 per month. Right, you can support the Beacon with a contribution. Just head on over to buckscountybeacon.fundjournalism.org. Right, fundjournalism.org/contribute. Right, or you can just go right to the Bucks County Beacon home. Right, it'll give you place that you can go. Okay, you just kind of go to buckscountybeacon.com, click on support the Beacon, and you can become a contributor there. And there's also just a really amazing event coming up too as well. As many of you know, what did I just do with that? What am I doing here? Guys, I'm a mess. I am a hot mess. So coming up on June 1st of this year is the Beacon Fest, which is totally freaking cool. This is a benefit concert. It's going to be held at Snipes Farm on June 1st. It's going to help raise money to expand the freelance budget and to help fund new investigative projects. There's a great lineup. Emily Drinker, Sug Daniels, John Beecher, All Right Jr., and Baron Tiger will be playing music for the day. If you decide you want to contribute $10 a month or more to the Bucks County Beacon, you're going to receive $20 off your ticket to Beacon Fest. If you contribute $250 or more, you're going to receive 50% off those tickets. Or look, you just go ahead and buy your tickets. You can, let me go right there. Sorry. You can just buy your tickets to the Beacon Fest. Right now, you'll be able to buy your ticket for, you can use Beacon Early Bird. It's Beacon Early Bird as a, you get a little discount on your ticket. Tickets are $50 and they will be used, like I said, to benefit the Beacon, right? And support local journalism. So that's pretty awesome. Let me see. I keep on getting beeped here. Nope. Okay. I'm just making sure it wasn't anything major. But so that's the good news I guess I got for you today. It's like, this is what I really think we need to do. We need to kind of support stuff locally. Let me just say this too as well, because this is the other thing that's been really on my mind. I've been thinking a lot about, we're in my class, there's one class that I teach called Rhetoric, Democracy, Advocacy, and we're reading this book by Anand Giridharadas called The Persuaders, and it's just an awesome book. And that in that awesome book, right, they're interviewing several activists, particular kind of women of color, right, people like Alicia Garza, just for example, the first couple of chapters, basically looking at strategies and think about organizing and building. And there's one thing that I this is like the third time I probably read this book, right? And every time I walk away with something a little bit different. And what seems to be resonating most to me right now, right, is the need to be in community, right? The need to be kind of connected and talking to people and building from the ground up. And I've watched a lot of people locally here, who've been organizing and stuff, and for a bunch of just whatever. I mean, mostly kind of like these weird health reasons, and to get back into work and just being in a weird headspace and things like this. I haven't been as involved like on the ground as I would like to, and that's something I want to, that's something I really want to change. One of the things that, this might seem like a small thing, but, I've been thinking about, these, in one aspect of the Persuaders, there's, they're talking about how, I'd even say it wasn't even in the book. It was actually, we watched an interview with Anand Giridharadas the other day. And it was when the book, right after his book was released, kind of a year and a half ago, and it was a Canadian journalist, and they were talking about, some of the kind of, for lack of a better word, kind of like identity stuff on the left. And I don't mean like, what we're talking about, identity politics, but I mean just in terms of like what this kind of vibe is the word he uses on some of the stuff on the left about, not necessarily feeling like this being like a welcoming space, right? And that, Giridharadas was saying is that, that's the irony here, is that you have the left, progressives in particular, who have the most expansive plan for inclusion and deepen democracy and all this other kinds of stuff. But for those folks who are, say, unaccustomed, right? For those folks who are kind of not already in the club, so to speak, it can feel like a hard way to get in, where, you have to know a particular language, you have to kind of know like particular people, you got to act in a particular way. At least that's some of the vibe that's give off. Whereas on the right, the most extremists in particular, they ironically have the most restrictive, right, the most oppressive, right, the most limiting form of kind of like agenda, that's out there. And yet the vibe of that movement is, yeah, come on in. It's everybody. We want everybody. Right. And so he was talking about, this idea about having these spaces where you can kind of be welcoming and full of joy, And I do think that's something that, that COVID, I think, put a damper on in some ways. But maybe it wasn't just COVID. I don't know. And maybe it's just me, right? Because, the one thing I will have to say is that, that was one of those things that was so remarkable about seeing the organizing that was going on in Penridge, right? It's like, there was, and there still is, right? I mean, the organization and the kind of community and the groups that formed out of around like the resistance to this, school board, right? I mean, they continue to do really cool stuff, right? Like more kind of social stuff, like more just kind of involvement that is much more open and welcoming, and that's so cool to see. And like, I always kind of look for where else can I, build on that. I don't know. I don't really have any solutions to all this. And like I said, it's going to be a little weird show today. Just given my both frustration and kind of like state of mind and this kind of like ticking clock I have in the back of my head about all the crap I need to get done over the next couple of days. So that's what I'm going to do. That's today's show. I don't know what to tell you, everybody. But listen, I appreciate everybody out there. I appreciate you kind of tuning in. Sorry, I'm in a weird mood today, but it is what it is. And, I hope everything is going well for you. Yes, Jenny jumped in. There's a Penridge Policy Committee meeting on Monday at the Penridge School Board. That's going to be an important one. There have been increasingly pushes to kind of roll back some of those worst policies that were put through by the Moms for Liberty-backed school board members. But there's increasing pressure from the community to say, okay, now it's time to roll all this stuff back. People are starting to get a little impatient, right? With the slow walk of, the turning around of these policies. So that will be tomorrow or Monday night. So pretty cool. All right, everybody, this is Kevin Mahoney, editor and founder of Raging Chicken. Want to thank all of you who decided to stop by today, spend a little time with me, hear me complain about whatever. And we'll see where we go from there. Okay. All right, everybody, this is Kevin Mahoney, creator and founder of Raging Chicken. We'll see you on the flip side. I'll be in a better mood. Don't worry about it. All right, everybody. See ya.
There are no people in the future. Let me try my people call.